Hot topics. We discussing anything, it's a go. We going live now. Got a favorite song, call into the show. Is he ready? Yep. 4, 3, 2, 1, here we go.
That's what I'm talking about. Cheryl Underwood Radio. It is a great
That's
day.
it.
It's a great day.
Cheryl, I was so excited to see two great stars out here, you know, to come back home. Both are from North Carolina. One is from Fayetteville, and Chris Paul is from the Winston-Salem area. But they came to Fayetteville State at HBCU and marched with the kids to take them to go vote. It was wonderful to see our brothers, you know, encourage people to vote. It's very nice. Very nice.
Fantastic. Vic Frost, you say what?
Anytime a celebrity comes to Fayetteville is a great honor, and especially for this cause. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and we love that kind of thing here in Fayetteville.
You are listening to KUAW Radio, home of the all-new Jamal Bakes Show, and I'm Jamal Bakes, and thank you so very much for listening to the station bringing you talk, news, entertainment that you won't get anywhere else. KUAWN, of and about our community.
This is comedian Janelle Banks, and you are listening to KUAW, Kansas City.
This weekend on Blues Time in the City.
If you didn't see him, you'd think he was a black dude playing.
That's the late, great Bo Diddley. We went to the Blues Archive Vault and downloaded some Bo. Very interesting what he's talking about this weekend. And Bobby Rush's birthday is Tuesday the 10th. He will perform one of his past performances live this weekend. Join me on Rosina Bailey for Blues Time in the City this weekend right here.
KUAW listeners, this is Carl Boyd for Wave Your Grades, coming to you every Saturday.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Kansas City's global radio station, KUAW. You're tuned in to Purpose, Passion, and Power with Jessica Lynn. And I am so excited to be at the table of purpose today with these powerhouse women to talk about uniting for change. So we are going to be talking about Black, Brown, and White unite for change. It is time, it is past time for us to unite and make this country a better place. We'll be talking about what Black, Brown, and White is all about. But I want to read something to you. And it says, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck what is planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to gain and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear, a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to present to you Black, Brown, and White Unite. It is time to heal. It is time to unite. It is time to unify. It is time to include all lives. Yes, and Black lives. And the reason we say Black lives is because the Black lives have not been included. And so for those that have a problem with that, we can talk about that too. But you can just look at the next commercial, whatever station you're looking at, and you can see why Black Lives Matter. Yeah, that just a little bit of the reasoning. But we are here, and I am excited to have my very own daughter with me on the show for the very first time. My daughter Brianna Lynn is on the show. Say hi to the people. Hello. 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 And then we have Jill. Jill is here. Jill Hayes is my high school classmate. Yes, and so she is here. And then we have my dear friend Carolyn Hammond. She is on Zoom with us today. Hi, Carolyn. Hey, Carolyn. I think she hears me. And then we have Sarah Ruiz Chavez is on her way. So Brianna and I are representing the Black. Sarah is representing the Brown. and Jill and Carolyn are representing the white. And so I'm excited to share with you the reason and the purpose of Black, Brown, and White. We are a Facebook group, and you can go to Facebook and look up Black, Brown, and White Unite for Change. Join the group, please. We love to welcome you to the group. The purpose of the group, I want to talk a little bit about that. The purpose of the group is to bring unity with all of the colors. I want to read to you the exact mission or purpose or goal, we should say. And the purpose and goal of Black, Brown, and White Unite for Change Facebook group is to inspire, implement, and promote a revolution to educate, unify, and start conscious conversations of safe and open expression to ignite actions toward change, to eradicate systemic racism, increase equity, inclusion, justice, and equality. Black, brown, and white. Let's all unite for change. And so we're here. I actually was so disturbed. I have been pretty much all my life of the injustice of my people and of other people of color. And when we all had to watch my brother, George Floyd, because we are from the same father. When we had to watch him lose his life publicly on television, it was a wake-up call to America, not so much to Black Americans, because we've been crying out all of our lives. This has been happening all of our lives. And so we've seen it in our families. We've lived the injustices. But when it was televised, so many people who had not lived that were outraged because they didn't think it was right. So the Black Lives Movement became world renowned. And so I had received many phone calls from different friends, and I had reached out to different friends that were not Black. And they were outraged and had no idea what our people had been suffering from. And so the Black, Brown, and White Unite for Change was born. I reached out to several of my friends, or some of them actually reached out to me saying, what can we do? Jill was one of those, saying we've got to do something. And so Black, Brown, and White Unite for Change was born. So that is part of my why. It is time. As I read to you, the passage in the Bible was from Ecclesiastes 3. And it's time. It's past time for America to really lead the rest of the world in unity. Many countries are not divided as ours is. And so it's time for change. And so I'm just going to open up the floor to Brianna and Jill, and I want to ask you, why are you here? I know that you're my daughter, but why are you here? What does this Black, Brown, and White Unite for Change mean to you? Why did you agree to be a part of this, Brianna?
Well, for one, I didn't really have a choice.
She was voluntold.
But I have two small Black boys. And studies have proven by the time that they're 5 years old, they will be seen as a threat. At 5 years old, you don't understand the world. You can't even reach the top cabinet in your kitchen. So how in the world can my children be seen as a threat? One of them is of a lighter skin complexion and the other is of a darker skin complexion. And I think to myself, what am I going to tell my kids? How am I going to explain something to Kingston and Kenji about their skin color? And it's not fair how they can be treated just because of how they look. I often think to myself, when they get older, I'm going to have to tell them, put your hoodie down, don't wear that, look up, speak professionally, use your manners. A lot of things that specifically Black boys have to do, and I can't say this from experience, but just from hearing other people, because I am a woman. It's really unfortunate that my children will have to do those things. And it upsets me that I am 24 years old and we're in the year of 2020 and the truth is still not told in the history books. I wonder if my children will ever be taught the real history in school. Of course, they will learn it from home because that's where teaching actually starts. Thank you, Mother.
You're welcome.
But my why is my kids, my black boys that matter. They're my why.
So that brings this little song to me, and it goes a little bit like this, and I'm sure that many of you know it, and if you do, please join in the mic. Join in with me, please. Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world, red and yellow, brown, black and white. They are precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. I grew up singing that song. Jesus loves the little children of the world, red, yellow, black, brown, and white. They are precious in his sight. Why are we not precious in each other's sight? That's the question today. Why are we not precious in each other's sight? Heaven is filled with little children, all the children of the world. And then we sung another song growing up, and you can join with me on this one too. And it was, he's got the whole world in his hands. 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 So how in the world do some of the people in the world get left out? Wow. Wow. It's just a question. Yeah. It's something to ponder. It's something to think about. And if you were raised to be kind to each other and you were raised to be, to be nice to each other, children are literally raised to hate. It is a taught behavior. And we have to talk about it. And where does it begin? Listen, I don't have a PhD in cultural diversity and all of that, but I am qualified because of who I am and what I look like and what I've been through to talk about this subject. And it is very, very, very unfortunate that the hate is being taught, because if you put two little children in daycare, they don't care what color each other are. They love and they share and they have a good time together. But the hate is taught. And so it is past time for us to dismantle. We need to dismantle that hate and the biases, and include everyone in what we're doing. Carolyn, are you tuned in? Can you hear us? Hold on, Carolyn. We can't hear you. Let's see if we can get you tuned in so you can give your 2 cents. Can we hear? Can you give us a test? And
hello, testing 1 2.
And include everyone in what we're doing. Carolyn, are you tuned in? Can you hear us? Can you talk for us, Carolyn?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear or see me?
I can see you and hear you. Yes.
You can hear and see me. Okay.
Yes.
I cannot see you all, but I can hear you. So I don't know if Mr. Walker can turn on the video camera. From your end, the video camera's off. So I don't know if he turns that on, then I can see you all as well.
Yeah. The camera is stolen.
Can you talk for us, Carolyn?
We'll have to go without.
Hear you guys.
Yeah, we'll have to go without you seeing her right now, because the camera is being stolen by the OBS system.
I don't know if Mr. Walker can turn on the. So can I go ahead and speak now? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So Jessica, thank you for asking me, first of all, to be on today. I really appreciate it. I am glad that we're having these conversations, and I'm actually going live now so that we can kind of broadcast this to additional
she can't see
additional people. So something you said was really interesting, and I wanna address that, because what you said is that hate is taught at home. Now, I want to address that because I think if people hear that, they're going to go, I don't sit down and teach my child how to hate. I don't sit down and tell them how to hate other people, and they're going to miss the point. The point is your words, your actions, how your children see you personally treat people of color is teaching them how to be a racist. If you are saying disparaging words, or if you're commenting on TV about what's going on in the negative and not offering understanding and empathy, if you are in how you speak to people of color in front of your children, that is teaching them. So I don't want it to be perceived as, well, I don't sit down and teach my child this. You do, if your actions and your examples show them anything but tolerance, acceptance, and appreciation for everyone and their journey, regardless of the color of their skin. Does that make sense?
That sounds good. We can hear you clearly, and it makes a lot of sense.
Basically, because I think we need everybody participating in this conversation and not sitting back and going, well, that's not me, because it is you. If you were sitting back as a white person saying, that's not me, I don't do that, then you need to double check yourself because you're part of the problem.
Wow. So basically, silence is part of the problem, and not acknowledging that you have a role in bringing unity with your children and with your family. I know in speaking with Carolyn, when this first happened back in March, I believe her family was having Zoom calls, and she was wanting to get some information, just like from a person of color, on how to bring this to her counterparts that are white. And I commend you and Jill for speaking and using your voice with your white counterparts, because that takes a lot of courage. And I do know that you have discovered that many of your white counterparts do not have the same belief system as you do with this awakening of the George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. They don't want to say that Black Lives Matter. And that is the reason Black Lives Matter, because you don't want to say it because they've never mattered to you. So that is a problem. That is a problem. And we're black, brown, and white. Unite for change, because it's not just black lives, it's brown lives too. But I believe that universally, black and white, it's black or white, and then basically it's people of color and people non-color. But I just love to include the brown in there, and I'm so excited to welcome my sister, Miss Sarah Ruiz Chavez, to at the purpose table, the table of purpose, because we are here to talk about how this has affected people of color, not just black, but our brown sisters and brothers as well. And Sarah is very involved in the Facebook group, and we're more than a group on Facebook. We are lifting our voices and trying to make a change with what we share and how we live. Sarah, what can you share with us today as to your why? Why are you with the group today? Go all the way in.
I do want to say thank you to KUAW for hosting this, and for you for bringing us all together. I think this is exactly the reason why, was to get the conversation out there and to start putting out those questions and challenging ourselves, challenging each other, asking what can we do. One of the things that you initially, when you and I started, and just expressing all the pain and all of the isolation and feelings of hopelessness, what can we do? Because it felt really hopeless in that dark time. And it was like, we need to talk to each other. We need to know we're not alone. We need to know that there is hope. And I think that's pretty much, I know that's why I wanted to be part of it. Learning family members they can't say Black Lives Matter. That's hard. And my family's mixed with everybody, with all the different shades, like most of our, modern families are, right? And so it has really forced us to reevaluate our values in a way that is, it cuts to the quick, right? And we needed it, and we're at a point where we can come together, share, put it out there, For me, helping with the Facebook group was just a way to feel like, okay, this is something. If anything, it's sparking hope and the ability to move forward and to be with all of you fine women who are, we feel the same way, and I love that. I'm getting to be connected to new people, and I just want and hope that your listeners who are out there will comment. Please comment. Please listen, share. I hope you go to the page and follow and comment and post, because we can't do it alone.
That's right. We can't do it alone. And so thank you so much, Sarah. We see some comments that are coming in, and we'll get to those in a moment. Wow. Thank you so much for the comments that are coming in. Thank you. Please share this. This is a very conscious conversation. It takes courage for women to come on and speak their voice and share their why. It takes a lot of courage. And so with that being said, this is my sister from another mother. We were in choir together. And I thought it would be so appropriate to do a little couple songs because we used to sing together all through high school. But Jill is she thinks she's black, by the way, and that's okay. We love it. She actually told me she was black. She was like, Jessica, I am black. Do you remember telling me that? Yes, you did. I was like, Jill, you're white. And she was like, no, I'm inside. I'm black. That's what she said.
Yeah.
And so she's very passionate. And so, Jill, tell us why you're here with the group and just using your voice. Tell us your why.
Well, my why has to do
Talk
with
all the way into the mic.
all of my friends and that are of color, and I tell people that my parents were anti-racist before the word anti-racist existed. And I remember in 1975 we purchased a house north of the river, and one of our neighbors came to my father and said, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're not a black family. And I still remember that. I was 5 years old at the time, and they walked away. And my dad, I'll never forget his words. He said, he's going to wish we were a black family. I was like, yay, thank you. So he instilled in me in a very young age that racism is not okay, and that black people are my friends. And at the same time, I was in an all-white neighborhood. I didn't have any black friends at all. And my parents ended up getting a divorce, and I ended up moving in with my father when I was 15 years old. And that's where Jessica and I met, at East High School. Growing up north of the river, I also went to a Catholic school. It was 1985 when I moved to East High School, and I remember everything was like totally gnarly, because I was a Valley girl. And all of my friends started, like, I'm going to this school, and I'm the, predominantly, like, I'm at a predominantly black school. I'm pretty much one of the only white people there. And I was shocked, because I had been going to really good schools with courtyards, and I looked around me, and we didn't have bathroom stall doors. We had faucets with broken handles. We had broken sinks that were just like broken off the wall. I remember in one of my history classes, the ceiling fell in, and we just carried on with class. And I was like, this is insane. And then when I went to math class, fortunately, I went to a really good Catholic school where we had to work at our own pace and learn how to problem solve with math on our own. And so I could just figure out how to do math. And we had people in the class who were like, how do you get this? How do you get this? And eventually I started teaching the class, and they would make fun of me, Miss Hayes, And I thought, like, if I was a teacher, you couldn't pay me to come here. You couldn't, because it was just so depressing. It was, everything's broken, and, you don't have the right tools. And to keep going on about school, I remember my sister ended up living with me when she was in high school, and she went to Metro Tech. And about, a few weeks into school, she said, we don't have any books. They lost the books. And I was like, 2 weeks into school, you guys still don't have books yet? was like, oh, okay, you know, a month went by. I said, where's these books? We don't have any books. I said, that's crazy. There are no computers in this era. So the only way that you can learn is with a book. We don't have computers in our schools at this time. So after month, and I'm finally like, you've got to be lying. I'm going down to that school to find out where the heck your books are. I went down there and I said, hey, you know, the first month or two, I was like, you know, that's a joke, you know, maybe they lost them or something. But now, you guys still don't have any books yet? Nope, they lost the books. She's telling the truth. You guys are having school every day with no books.
So there is a disparity that continues today with education in the system, and that is another topic that we need to touch on as well. The disparity in education, huge, especially in the underserved community. The high school that I went to, I had some very good teachers. My teachers cared, and there was opportunity to, you know, do more on your own. Students that weren't pushed, some of them fell between the cracks because the expectation in the inner city of people, children of color. I remember I was substituting some years ago, and I had a disruptive student, and he was a black boy, and I just asked him why he was here, because he continued to be disruptive. I just said, why are you here? And he said, ma'am, I'm here just to eat breakfast and lunch. That broke my heart. That truly broke my heart, and that let me know that this kid is on a real struggle. There are real struggles that are alive and well in the urban community that are not being addressed. There is a reason why a kid is being disruptive. There's a reason why a kid is not doing their homework. They may not have lights at home. There's a reason why so many things, and we have to care about each other and be inclusive and have systems in place to dismantle the haves and the have-nots. And that's what this is about as well. I see that you're thinking, I'm also a product of an HBCU, which is a historically black college and university. I can tell you that in high school, I had a phenomenal black history teacher, which prompted me. I had a phenomenal counselor, high school counselor, which prompted me to want to go to an HBCU. And those are 5 years of my life. I went to two, went to one for a year on a full ride, and then I transferred to another one, and I was there for 4 years. So 5 years of my life was the only time in my life that I did not experience racism, and that was on a HBCU campus. That was the only place in my life and time in my life that I did not experience racism. And that was only on campus. I'm not talking about off campus. I'm talking about on campus because I was in the South, where it was thick, where David Duke was the Grand Wizard of the KKK. I was there in Louisiana at that time. So, wow. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Well, I will say you were very fortunate to have that time of that safe place where you didn't experience the racism.
On campus.
On campus.
On campus, yeah.
But just to be in that atmosphere where you're in a learning environment and the expectations are equal and the opportunities of growing your mind are everywhere around you. And I had a similar situation growing up in Topeka, Kansas at a Catholic school. It was small, but we were all treated equally. And that was my safe time. After that, high school, everything changed. And as we got older, and of course.
What happened in high school?
Well, I went to a bigger school. So I was in a very small community, and everyone around me, I was raised Catholic, and I am Mexican-American background. And I didn't have a lot of diversity in my small bubble because we were raised very strict. We mostly stayed within our group 5 blocks radius, never really ventured out. Didn't know that there were even other religions. Only whatever the Bible taught us, right? In our Catholic realm. But in high school, I mean, I saw the challenges immediately, and you learn to adapt quickly. You'll learn how to play the game quickly, and a lot of it is that code switching. And so you do the code switching. You learn it real easy. I mean, we do it as women way before any kind of racism happens because it's already, it starts
innate.
Yes. And I think for me, it was still, my dad worked for Goodyear, so he's part of a union. And so I grew up in an environment where we knew that voting mattered. We knew about Cesar Chavez. We knew about doing all kinds of different things to help others. We learned that. And I think for me, growing into the adult that I am now and being involved in civil rights as much as my husband and I are, it impacts me to where I'm listening to you talk about the challenges in just school here and educating. And I remember, it wasn't that long ago here in Kansas City, a student was punished for speaking Spanish on the schoolyard. That was not that long ago. And it probably still happens. It's just that one elevated to a level of, wait a minute, what is happening here? And you know, it could have been French, it could have been German. There's something about speaking Spanish that really creates some pushback. And so for me, as I'm listening and we're talking, you know, minus this pandemic, because it's not going to last forever, I think this group can really do some powerful, influential things once we can all get together.
Yes.
Because this kind of conversation can happen in a town hall setting where we can be talking to educators. And a lot of it is happening now. I know our friend Shelley Coulter has been commenting, and she's in the thick of it. She knows exactly what's happening, and she's a powerful champion right now making things happen. So I think as we grow and expand our network, there can be some real change that could happen in our community here.
I agree. And one of the things that I want to say, you mentioned having conversations, and when the Black Lives Matter first started, and I mentioned this earlier about Carolyn and her family, it starts with you and your family in your home at the table.
That's right.
I call this the table of purpose. You should have a table of purpose in your home. You know, what are we talking about over dinner? Are we talking about what's happening in the world today? We need to talk to our 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old children. Just because my grandsons, my daughter's sons, are statistically going to be a threat at 5 years old. What am I doing to prepare them for this world? What are we doing to teach our children not to make that true if you are not of color? Even if you are, you do have some racism within the same race. And so that is another conversation as well. Wow, it's already, the time is going by so fast, but I want to, I saw you thinking, do you have anything you want to share or add to that, Brianna?
When Ms. Jill was talking about the disparities in the inner city school, I was privileged as a Black teenager to be able to attend an awesome school in suburbia. And I can tell you from my experience as a minority in a suburban school that the disparities are there, even though those schools have all the money. If you were to go into ISS, 99% of the children are Black.
And there's only a very small percent of the children that go to the school that are Black.
Correct. About between 7 to 13% of the students in the school are Black, but 99% of them in ISS are of color. That says a lot.
It says a lot to me as a parent, especially as a parent of a Black boy that went to the same school in suburbia. My children went to the same school, and it says a lot to me because Black boys are misunderstood. They are a target in America. It's open season on Black men, and it starts when they are little. when they're little boys, like she said, starting at like at age. They're so precious to me right now. I posted a Facebook picture with me holding them and loving them and saying, please, God, don't ever let anybody kill them because of the color of their skin. To have to think about that as a woman of color and having these beautiful lives that are my seed, that are my legacy. My son, I worry daily if they're going to kill him because he has dreads and because he's tall and thin and he just looks like he's to us, he's got it going on, especially to all the little girls, but to the authorities and to the people that hate, he's a target. And so I worry about that. And I think that I can speak for any mother. Yes, I believe God. Yes, I believe in prayer, but I'm also a human being. And I would be remiss to say I didn't see my son with a knee on his neck. That was my son. That was my husband. That was my brother. That was my father. That was my cousin. That was my family. And it has been, but the video now is showing the world. And I'll say it again, if you missed it in the beginning, it's not new to Black people what has happened to George Floyd. It's not new at all. This country was built on that. It was built on that. And that's why I read the verses in the beginning. It's time to heal, and it's time to change.
Jessica, I wanted to say something really quick. So when I work in Prairie Village, I'm very blessed that it is the most diverse office. It's the reason that I drive 30 minutes from home to go there. They focus, because whatever you focus on expands. And so because we focused on making a diverse culture, we've also brought people in to tell us, what don't we know? What are we? And one of the things that I was surprised with, because I'm white, I've been growing up with white stories my whole life of generations and things. I've never grown up at the table hearing about, generations of mistreatment, like the stories that your family has. And so when Juneteenth came this year, they had people of color coming in and talking about their family and how the stories were told throughout just daily life. Mm-hmm. And those stories we missed out on. We didn't hear any of those stories. So I was listening to a show about racism and things like that, and my grandchildren are of color, and they came in, and part of me wanted to stop that video because mm-hmm. I felt it was just too much mm-hmm. for them as mm-hmm. young people. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, wow, because I'm white, I feel like that. But if I was Black, it would just have been a normal conversation that they hear all the time. Mm-hmm. And so it made me aware that I do need to have those conversations with them. But it was like I was woke, like, mm-hmm. oh my gosh, like this is how it feels to have to share these stories to these young, innocent children that have done nothing mm-hmm. to deserve this. Mm-hmm. It took myself, you know what I mean? It shook me that I had to have this conversation, that this is how life is for you.
Yeah, and this is how life is. And Carolyn, I want to bring you in as well on this part. Can you hear us clearly?
I can. I think I have my system set up now. Can you all hear me clearly?
Yes. What would you like to add?
Well, it's so important. I think when we have the conversation and not back away from it, our voice carries. And you have to do that, because what I experience, this is my experience, when I have conversations about this, people can tend to think that I am bringing up things that shouldn't be talked about, that this is actually it's casting a bigger light on the problem and creating bigger problems, because I'm using my voice to call out inequalities and to call out behaviors, when the reality is the exact opposite is true. You don't create racism by talking about it. It's there. It's touching everything. And if you think that's a problem to discuss it, then again, check yourself on where your head is, because you not wanting to have the conversation tells me what I think you're thinking, right? Mm-hmm. So now it has told me, okay, I've got bigger work to do with you than I thought. Because if you're not willing to open yourself up to the conversation, then you're not willing to realize the role you played in it. And for us, that's been a journey. And Jessica, you and I talked about that with my family, and that journey for us has been a personal one. You know, I'm a St. Louis girl, and we live near and grew up in Ferguson. And when everything happened, and we have family of police officers in Ferguson as well. And so our journey has been one of acknowledging and speaking about it, because we want folks to say, we want there to be a little bit of extra spotlight, like, you know, a few fireworks and a little bit of a marching band around what we talk about as a white family, to say Black lives do matter. And we realize this even though we also have a family of police officers, because the people we love who are police officers that are in our family and know are outraged at what is displayed on TV, because that's not them. And they can fully acknowledge who it is in their department. People know who it is. So we want there to be, we hope that that carries some weight, that people listen, because what we can't have is our white friends tune us out because they don't like having the conversation. That's just, it's unacceptable to tune out just because it makes you uncomfortable. That, when you can look at what happens on the news, and you can look at the horrors that play out, when I look at my friends and I think of your grandsons and your boys, Jessica, and it breaks my heart to think anyone would harm in any way them because of the color of their skin. And it happens all the time. Mm-hmm. All the time. So if my white friends need to engage me in a conversation, then I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to have the conversation and ask them to please continue this conversation with their other friends, because unless we start acknowledging it and talking about it and highlight that this is real, then people will go on sweeping everything under the rug and tripping over it every time they walk through their living room, because it's not going to go away. And so I appreciate everybody here, and I'm so honored this weekend to have got to put, everyone to have Brianna and to have Sarah in my circle of people now, and hoping to connect with Jill as well, because if we can all keep having these conversations, then we, person by person, change the world, because that's what it needs. One person, one moment at a time.
That's so good. Change. That is so good. Carolyn, you are, you just rock to me, period. And I thank you so much for your input. I thank you for being a voice. I thank you for being an advocate. I thank you for being an ally. I thank you for trying your best to see yourself in people of color shoes. And I started this this segment with 2 songs, and another one has come to mind. I'm just full of songs because the lyrics are just so good, but I'm not going to bore you with that. But yes, thank you so much, Carolyn, just for being a part, because I think that one of my favorites, and I used to sing her songs in high school and in the pop choir, and I'll just go ahead on with the song. Reach out and touch somebody's hand, make this world a better place if you can. So if you don't want to reach out and touch somebody's hand, but that somebody has to be somebody that looks like you, that just defeats the whole purpose. We want to reach out and touch somebody's hand, make this world a better place if we can. If we can't reach out and touch them because of COVID, we can have a conversation. Can we have a conversation?
Yes, we can. Man, you got a really nice voice. Oh, I'm like, do we all have to sing? Because I'm tone deaf. I can clap.
Yeah, you can clap. You can move.
I can sing.
It's okay. But yeah, can we just reach out and touch somebody's hand? It doesn't have to be their hand. We can touch their heart. We can touch and be, be compassionate. This whole country, this whole world, it is time. I cannot say that enough. I would like to challenge you, to reach out to someone that doesn't look like you. Acknowledge, give a neighbor a gift, do something to somebody that doesn't look like you. In the store, pay for someone's, groceries. I don't know. Give them the quarter for the cart at Aldi. I don't know. But everybody can do something. Everybody can do something to say, hey, right when this George Floyd incident happened, and I say incident, but it was murder, in my opinion. And so when that murder happened, my sister and a friend, we were at a store in Johnson County. I think it was like a Quick Trip. And we were talking in our car, and a white man came over to our car, and we thought something was wrong. And he was like, hi. And I was like, maybe he doesn't know who we are. He was like, oh, I just wanted to come over and say hi to you all. Blew me away. Blew me away that he did that. And I shared it on Facebook, and I said, hey, I'm going to challenge you to speak to somebody who doesn't look like you. This man, and one of my friends said, he may feel guilty about what's going on in America. Maybe he's trying to make a change. And so unite for change. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be in this group. You can change right there where you are. You can change with your family. You can do something. You can go speak to somebody, help somebody. Hold the door open for somebody who doesn't look like you. Go out of your way for once and create and be the change that the world needs to see.
It's an incredible feeling. I know even right now with COVID, and we're losing a lot of precious souls who are leaving their families. And I have given to complete strangers because they lost their dad or their mom, in some cases both mom and dad. And so there's crowdfunding for some of the children. I have no idea who they are, but I just want to be a blessing to others, even in some small way. And yes, we'll always continue to pray and lift them up and sending that positive energy that we all have within us and putting it out there in the universe. But when you can really do some of those things, or introduce or say, hold the door open, it's that simple.
That simple.
It just creates a domino effect of positivity. And
love.
When you're positive, your mind is open to different ideas and different people, whatever they're happening to be going through at that time, because we never know what's behind the facade.
Yes,
we just never know.
That's so good. That's so good. Brianna,
Sarah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Brianna, would you like to share anything? Maybe a life experience, maybe something in high school. I know that I'll bring this up if you haven't thought about it. Brianna is a phenomenal actress, and she did the voice of Emmett Till. Emmett Till, those of you who don't know, was murdered brutally at the age of 14 for so-called whistling at a white woman, but he wasn't whistling. Brianna, he was whistling, but he wasn't whistling at her. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe even doing that in I remember something you can share about when you did that Emmett Till piece in a competition at a predominantly white school. It was not in Kansas City. You were traveling with the debate team, and you were doing your Emmett Till, and one of the judges, who was an adult, this is a high school student, gifted, not because she's my daughter, but because she's gifted, doing her piece on Emmett Till. He is an adult judge, and I don't know if you know anything about debate, but there has to be judges. And so these parents and adults volunteer to judge. And when she was doing her Emmett Till piece, he literally got up and walked out. And she called me from that small town in Missouri and told me that the man got up and walked out. I was infuriated as a mom. Why didn't the debate teacher make him sit back down? Why didn't somebody advocate for my daughter? How do you get up and walk out?
Wow, why?
Can you talk about that? Because of what she was saying. It was speaking truth. And there's so many that don't want to acknowledge the truth.
Honestly, those types of things were kind of normal. Specifically for the students in debate and forensics who were Black. A lot of times people would tell me that performing pieces connected to Black history was risky, because I was putting my my ranks on the line instead of getting first place, or instead of moving on to finals or semifinals. You know, I was speaking truth, but I should have done something else that wasn't so risky. It was hurtful, honestly, but I didn't have a whole lot of emotion towards it because it was normal, which was
for the environment that you were
correct.
in.
For the environment I was in, that was normal.
And I can say that she continued, and she made history at her high school, Lee Summit West, as the first student to make it to, correct me if I'm wrong, nationals on a dramatic interpretation.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow. So what am I saying is, speak your truth. I don't care who doesn't like it. And never ever did she say, I'm not going to do this piece again because this man walked out. Because that is what we have lived with for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. It's time to change. It's time to unify. When you see something, say something.
No, as I'm listening to you, and I'm just imagining that whole scenario. My two daughters, one was in debate and the other one was in forensics, so I'm very familiar and have been a judge. And in my head, I'm trying to figure out how, I mean, for him to walk out is just unfathomable in my head. But you're saying that this is normal, and I'm thinking good trouble. That's what's coming to my mind.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we should all be doing is good trouble.
That's good. That's really good, very good. Keep on pushing. Keep on going. Be encouraged. Look for the injustices and say something about it. Say something. Do something. Be an advocate. Unite. There was no advocate for my daughter. Not one. There was no advocate for my son. Not one. Other than me, I wasn't there. I wasn't there. So I think to myself, what is going to happen to my grandsons? What are we going to tell them? Are we going to have to talk to them like Emmett Till talked to his mother, like Emmett Till's mother talked to him? Wow. And if you don't know who Emmett Till is, you can Google that. But Brianna would kill me. But can I just tell them? Don't tell them. Okay, she won't let me tell you. But you can ask me privately, and I'll tell you where you can find her doing that piece. It's moving. It's very moving, and wow. I want to open
Hey,
up.
Jessica, I'm monitoring the chat, and there's a question that somebody has submitted. Can I toss this to the
Please do.
Group? Okay, so Shelley wants to know, or says, there are so many that want to change what they have been taught and want to know how to love unconditionally, regardless of color or race. The question is, how do we open that door? So how do we open the door to people who have either been directly taught or by witnessing how they grew up? How do we undo and help undo that damage for people so that because when you don't, you just said it, when you don't know better, you don't do it. When you know better, you should do it. So how do we get folks to the point of knowing better and having those conversations? Is there anything the group, wants to kind of toss around that question?
Well, first thing comes to my mind is starting with a conversation and reaching out to someone and literally asking. I was reached out to after the George Floyd incident on text and email from several white women. And they literally asked me, what could they do to help? What could they do? How could they use their voice? One of them's here with me today. Proof in the pudding. Amen. So, I mean, I think it's literally asking, what can we do to make it better? And I have a good answer too, and it's, can we all get along? this book here. I bought it in 1992. It's available today on Amazon. That's just how powerful it is. The foreword is by Martin Luther King Jr.'s son. Can we all get along? 50 steps you can take to help end racism at home, at work, in your community. This is by Clyde W. Ford. By Clyde W. Ford. I think it's about $10 on Amazon. Can we all get along? It is filled with so many wonderful ideas, suggestions, education, what racism is, how it is systemic in all the institutions of America. It gives you topics on how to sit down with your family and how to talk, what to do, learn about another culture, learn about another religion, serve, volunteer, do things to push the needle forward to unity.
That's really good. I want to say that it's because of you recommending this. I ordered mine. It just got it in from Amazon, and awesome. I'm looking forward to it. But this is what I love. We're sharing information, and to go back to the question, asking, what can I do or help me understand? When you and I first connected, you asked a question that never entered my mind, and I'd never been asked before ever. And it was like, do you want to be referred to as a Latina or Hispanic? Or you actually knew more of the terms than I did, because there was just so many, because it's changed, like it seems like every generation, and I've been around a while, so I kind of get used to it. And I was like, oh my goodness, if you're thinking this, how many others are wondering what is the the latest? I think it's Latinx, right? Okay, let me just say that there's a big controversy of who wants to be called Latinx and who doesn't, depending on your point of reference and what you know of what that term means. I understand. I will answer to any of them. I just have always referred to myself as Mexican, because that's just how I was raised, and I keep it simple. Of course, I'm an American, born and raised in Topeka, but I don't get to,
into all the
other stuff, because it'll change in 10 years anyway. So, but that meant a lot to me, and I just want you to know that showed me how wonderfully thoughtful, considerate, and genuine you were in wanting to understand where I was coming from, what I wanted to be called. And I will always be thankful and think, wow, it sticks out for me.
And I had no idea that did that for you. And that is the power of change. That is the power of conversation.
Yes.
That is so much the power. Because if I would have came to you with something crazy, do you want to be called this? And you would have been like, no, we're called this, and this is acceptable.
Yeah.
And I think that is so important for us to learn how to identify with each other so that we can include everybody. It's not, I go back to the song, red, yellow, black, brown, and white. We are precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. Now, if you don't believe in Jesus, that's fine. But we are all precious in his sight. And that's my personal opinion. It has nothing to do with KUAW and nobody else's opinion at the table. That's my personal opinion, that we have to be inclusive. And the only way that we can break down the systemic walls of racism and injustice and inequality is by inclusion. We have to include. We have to love. We have to be compassionate. We have to unify. We have to say, hey, I have what you need. I can help you with that. What happened to the days where you went to your neighbor's house and said, do you have 2 eggs?
I remember those well.
Yeah. Can you go down the street to Miss So-and-so's and get a cup of flour? We're out.
Or even, I know in my neighborhood, just a couple of weeks ago, we had rows of campaign signs. So you'd have one house with all one campaign, the other next to it, a different campaign, the opposite. And it's like, these are our neighbors.
These are our neighbors. And we need to unify and be neighbors.
Yes.
Time is gone. Unfortunately. Listen, you have been tuned in to Kansas City's global community radio station, Purpose, Passion, and Power with Jessica Lynn. We have some wonderful women at the table of purpose. I want to share just real quick with the community what's up, with what's coming up next. With Giving Hope and Help. Giving Hope and Help is gearing up for the 8th annual Feminine Hygiene Product Drive. It's going to be December the 12th at Swope Park. It is a contactless drive-through. You drive through, you drop off your period products, and we will fill a truck with period products. All of the domestic violence shelters in Kansas, Missouri, and other organizations that need period products will drive through and receive a year or more supply. Help us fill the truck. Help us on Giving Tuesday. Donate $5 or more to Giving Hope and Help and KUAW. We will have Facebook fundraisers on. Give KUAW $5 or more. Give Giving Hope and Help $5 or more. If you have a nonprofit of your choice, give. We have all lost opportunity to fundraise with COVID-19. But I can tell you this, COVID-19 stopped a lot of things, but it did not stop the periods. They're flowing every day. Wherever there's a woman, there's a flow. Help us fill a truck with period products so that we can make a difference in the lives of women locally and across the globe. Thank you so much. You've been tuned into Purpose, Passion, and Power with Jessica Lynn. Be blessed.
All right, you're listening to KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station. We don't only bring you videos on Facebook and YouTube, but listen to our audio only, where you'll get shows like Cheryl Underwood and Blues Time in the City. You can pick us up at www.kuaw.org or go to the TuneIn app and search KUAW. Listen to us. We're on 24 hours a day. That's KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station. And this is what you hear every day from noon till 2. Don't miss the Cheryl Underwood Show.
It's the jump off. Welcome to the Cheryl Underwood Show. Hot topic. We discussing anything. It's a go. We going live now. Got a favorite song calling to the show. Is he ready? Yep. 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
That's what I'm talking about. Cheryl Underwood Radio. It is a great
That's
day.
it. Cheryl, I was so excited to see two great stars out here, to come back home. Both are from North Carolina. One is from Fayetteville, and Chris Paul is from the Winston-Salem area. But they came to Fayetteville State at HBCU and marched with the kids to take them to go vote. It was wonderful to see our brothers, encourage people to vote. It's very nice. Very nice.
Fantastic. Vic Frost, you say what?
Anytime a celebrity comes to Fayetteville is a great honor. And especially for this cause. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and we love that kind of thing here in Fayetteville.
You are listening to KUAW Radio, home of the all-new Jamal Biggs Show, and I'm Jamal Biggs, and thank you so very much for listening to the station bringing you talk, news, entertainment that you won't get anywhere else.